Are we on the air?
You're now in the mix with The Corner Radio, hosted by Kill, banging nothing but classic hip-hop, soul, and R&B.
What's good, what's good, what's good? You tuned into The Corner Radio, hosted by your man, Kill, man. I got my hip-hop squad up here in effect with me tonight. Before we get to my special guest, we're going to chop it up with my people who's always up here with me. My brother, Ev, from the Writer's Bench. What's good, brother?
Peace, brother. How are you?
Man, everything is great now, man. I got my man, DJ Rec One. What's good, Rec?
What's good, man? Peace, peace.
Now, for tonight's show, we got one of my favorite MCs in the book from day one. Rocking with this dude. We gonna chop it up. I always tell people when they come on here, it ain't an interview. We just chopping it up about love and life and everything in between, man. I got my man OC out of Brooklyn. What's good, fam?
What's going on, brothers?
Man,
peace. Privilege and honor.
Just glad to popping it up with you, I can't tell you how hype I've been for this interview, man. You know what I mean?
I'm always hyped for interviews, especially when people reach out to me, man. It makes me feel good.
No doubt. My man Ev right here is an MC, so I know he's gonna have some lyrical questions for you on tap. So, let's dive right into it, B. How did this whole hip hop thing get started with you back in Brooklyn? Where did it start from?
Bushwick, Brooklyn. Home of beat miners, home of quite a few people, but that was basically where my start came about, you know what I'm saying, as a kid. I mean, as a kid, you know what I mean? 4 or 5 years old, seeing the park jams, seeing the big guys bring their equipment out, you know what I mean? And it started from there. I never lost the love once I seen that.
All right. That's what's up. So when was the first time that you started writing a rhyme and you really got in the booth and you was like, yo, I could do this thing. This is something I could do for real.
Oh man, this was maybe, if I was maybe 4 or 5 looking at park jams, this happened when I moved to Queens in '85.
Right.
And I moved to Jamaica, Queens, and I moved across the street from this guy y'all might know. He ain't too popular, whatever. His name is Pharoahe Monch.
Right.
He was my neighbor, you know what I'm saying? My mentor, my neighbor. And we actually live diagonally, but directly across the street from each other. And that's where it started for me, you know what I'm saying? Hold on, look. It's a live podcast. This is Showbiz right here.
What up? Peace. Peace.
Yeah, so, it started with that, man. You know what I'm saying? And he lived diagonally across from me. And we started playing ball and football and stuff. That's where the whole connection came in at.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah,
and I found out he was an MC.
Right. Because it's crazy. I was going to ask you, back in those days, most times people stayed in their borough. So I knew you was from Brooklyn. I didn't even know you was out to Queens.
Yeah, I moved out to Southside Jamaica, Queens. Yeah.
Okay. Because that was going to be my next question. How'd you get from Brooklyn with the organized joint with the fudge? You know what I mean? So talk about that fudge joint, because that was it for me with organized. I know I like who ate the last piece of chicken, but fudge that was my thing right there. So how'd that come about?
I mean, shit, that was a funny name for a song, Fudge Pudge. Fudge Pudge was like a derivative from the Fat Albert Gang. I don't know if y'all have, you're a DJ, so it was it was promo wax made up with a fat dude that looked like Fat Albert with a small ass t-shirt on, and he had a bowl of fudge in his hand. And I never knew why that song correlated with the title, but hey, it was my first time, it was my shot. And I mean, that came about when they was finishing up their debut album.
Right.
And you know, it was quite a few of us around them that was trying to get on. And I guess they felt I was ready, and they put me on the spot. And you know, I never forget, it was in Power Play Studios. You know, Lord Finesse was there. You know, a famous engineer, if you look, or a well-known engineer like used on a lot of Eric B, Rakim, Marley Marl. His name was Anton. Yep. He was there, so I was shook. And long story short, they came up with a joint that wasn't even for the album. And, you know, Large helped them hook it up. They hooked it up. And they put me on the spot, and I went in the corner and wrote. And, you know, I knocked it out, and they was like, it's cool. You know, that was their way of mentoring, tutoring me, though. Like, it was hard love with them dudes.
Word. You dealing with two of the dopest lyricists with Monch and
Yeah, well, I used to try to sound like them in the beginning, and you know, Prince was the dude who's most outspoken, so he used to be like, nah, man, like, sound like, be yourself, be original, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you, like, don't try to be like us.
Right.
You know, it used to make me mad and upset, but, you know, I was young, and I found my pocket, and I did what I did.
Right. Now tell me this: the next time you was up was on the Back to the Grill remix. You know what I'm saying? You got you and NYG'z. You know what I'm saying? Because to me, that was always when I went to school in Morgan State back in the '90s. So I was always, you know, Cash from Queens would be like NYG'z, and I'm from Philly, but I'd be like, yo, OC from Brooklyn, like, you know, it was a nice little. At least for me, that's what I felt. How did that come about? The whole Back to the Grill remix joint.
Well, me and NYG'z was signed to MC Search. We was both signed to Searchlight Music, and we wasn't even in the same studio when I did the remix. Like, you know, he was in the studio with Search when he did the original, but when Search brought the remix to me, you know, it was just me and Search and the engineer, and that was it. And that was it. Okay.
Yeah, because I mean that to me was just a dope throw in, because I remember hearing the remix being like, oh, okay, right. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because that's to me how it was back in the day. It was always like your cameos, you know what I mean? And during those times, if you had a cameo, you had to be nice versus how, you know, how it is nowadays. Just if your homeboy rhyme, you put them on like, nah, you had to be nice. But let's talk about this joint right here, man. Which I think is just a 5-mic classic, brother. Like, how did this even come about? How did you link up with Buck Wild? How did this album come together?
I linked up with Buck Wild on the first and actually very last Source tour. And, you know, he was on, you know, that was Finesse's peoples, Lord Finesse. And I didn't know Finesse at the time. So the Source tour consisted of, I'm going to say RSO, which is, you know, Benzino, and his crew, Roxanne Shante, Low Bastards. Y'all might know him as Doggy Diamonds, though. He's one of the two guys from the Low Bastards. Bismarcky, MC Search, the soon-to-be Track Masters, Red Hot Lover Tone, you know, and a few other people. And me and Buck just clicked, you know what I'm saying? I was actually starstruck when I seen Finesse, because it was like, wow, this is the dude I see battle. You know, I seen him put money up at clubs in New York City, and people would actually try to battle him, and he would take their paper. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, wow, this is like surreal for me. So I'm on the tour with Prince and Monch, of course, and me and Buck that's actually the first time I heard the Big L demo too, on the Source tour. So, you know, make a long story short, me and Buck just clicked, and, you know, from there we just all became cool as the tour progressed.
Okay. So what's some of the first sessions for the joint? Because I mean, of course, Time's Up, you know, one of the greatest hip hop songs ever. I'm always intrigued with little line and note theories like, was that one of the first joints that was recorded? Was that latter? What was that session like? Because this was what, Power Play or at Battery?
This was at Battery. That was actually a Pharoahe Monch beat.
Word.
Word. I stole a beat tape from him. Straight up. I tell his story, so it's public knowledge.
man.
You know, it's this cat named Prestige who produced on Word Life. He did Point of Views on the album. And he was a Pharoahe dick rider. Straight up. And no disrespect. Straight up. P, but anyway, he played a sample. He played the actual sample, not chopped up, nothing, but he had it looped up the way. And I'm like, yo, this is crazy. And Monch is really laid back, you know, very nonchalant. And I'm like, yo, what you gonna do with that? And he was like, nah, I'm gonna sit on it for a minute. And I'm like, oh, really? And I asked him for like a week straight, and he just gave me the runaround. I was like, yo, look over there. He looked over there, and I snatched the tape. Straight up. And I let Buck hear the tape and was like, yo, you know what this sample is? And he was like, no doubt.
All right, and then
Found it, and that was it.
That's his history, man. I think one of the dopest things in there was just because I think, I'll never. I'm 43, so my brain ain't what it used to be. But I remember hearing times up and just.
What you trying to say, man?
Nah, I'm old.
I'm older than you, B.
No, I'm just saying my brain ain't the same. Down, B. I gotta write. If I don't write it down, B, I'm lost in the sauce out here now.
Well,
but,
I deal with memory. This is my job, so. But I'm a few years older than you, dogs.
All right, but one of the things I remember was you were one of the first cats that I can remember like calling MCs out, like on some old, like, nah, you lying, like you said you was at church with your moms, you know what I mean, like. Yeah. Again, you being one of the first people, if not the first to do that, like that's kind of stepping out a lot right there. You know what I mean? That was taking a step out when you one of the first people to do that. Like, what made you want to do that?
It was coming from a time where a lot of cats at that moment was starting to talk reckless. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, for instance, I looked at the Onyx when you pick the whole Onyx movement when they came out. You know, they was on some they joint to me. If you gotta have the music to match what you look like, what you professing, and 9 times out of 10 at that time you was gonna get tested on your gangster. You know what I'm saying? And it was just a lot of people just following what everybody else was doing. And just because Onyx made music like that don't mean you try to make records like Onyx or MOP or anybody for that matter. And it was just like, yo, man, like, come on, B. Like, make your own, like, be original. Do your own shit.
And I have to say, man, as an MC, when you came out with that album and that perspective, it really influenced not just me, but a couple other cats who are MCs as well to go hard in that lane.
Right.
During that time, it was like a lot of kind of like tribe kind of stuff, or you was like real hood with it.
Right.
You came in such a lane was like, yo, I'm gonna hit you with it verbally, but I'm gonna hit you with it so precise.
Right.
I really have to salute you on that. And I'm curious, man, when you started writing, even before Word Life, was it somebody who was it in your squad or in your family that really gave you that nod, like, yeah, you on it, you got it? Do you remember who that person was?
It was Monch.
It was Monch.
Yeah, I mean Prince and Monch, no doubt about it, no questions about it. Like, they were my ultimate, you know, hands-on influence. You know what I'm saying? Outside of, you know, who we all listen to, like, but them two guided me straight up.
And I have to say, I had the privilege of befriending Prince. Actually, we had him on the show maybe like a year or two ago. Even now, when I call him up, real beautiful cat, man. Just, and I appreciate the fact of, and I don't want to jump ahead too much, but the fact of, through this time frame as MCs, his pen don't stop. Listening to the last joint that you just put out, your pen doesn't stop, and I appreciate that heartily. And I'm always curious as far as like when you get when you get later, like more mature in life, I'm not gonna say older, when you get more mature,
same difference.
How do you keep your perspective? Because the perspective changes a little bit.
Life, man.
I feel you.
Life, everyday life, like it's like a superhero, man, drawn from the elements around you. Like, I mean, that goes for everybody. Like, people always talk about, I always say, just from a MC and an MC having an ego's perspective, which we all have as some form of fashion, that it ain't no talent for me. Like, it's something the universe gave to everybody. It's how you tap into it, though. Everybody has an individual gift, you know what I'm saying? And I never looked at age, or if you're dope, you're dope. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Hip hop is the only genre of music that determines, oh, you're too old to be doing this, or I need to move over for the young cats. Rock don't do that. Latin music don't do that. Why are we doing that?
Exactly.
So it's a few cats though out here. That's my peers that need to stop though.
On that, if you don't mind, I just want to ask another question when it comes to like the MC. One thing I peeped about you, and I really dig, is your the way you ride a beat, which is your breath control, is always superb. And a lot of times you hear cats that get older, they lose that, and you hear them on beat, and they kind of sloppy with it. They all over the place. Is there anything that you do as an older adult to maintain your breath control?
Nah, I mean, well, I ain't no fat dude. You know what I'm saying? On a serious note, like, I check out. I look at the youngest too, man. I see what they doing. Everything keeps me on point. Just everyday life, things around me. My engineer Parks, that's sitting right here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't do this by myself. Like, when I'm in the booth, for example, whatever I do, I tell them right off the rip. We have an understanding from day one. If it ain't right, let me know, and he'll stop me. Like, because at the end of the day, I'd rather him stop me or show before it gets out to the world and it's trash.
Right.
And people like, what the hell was that? You know what I'm saying? And you just gotta have those elements around you, and it's just everyday life. Like, it ain't no material or things that I write about that I can't draw from. It's too much happening going on out here.
Right.
It's an endless amount of information. So now, at some point, what Jay said, everybody fall off but you first, G. I don't believe in that. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I feel like it's time for me to stop, I'll stop. It ain't gonna take somebody being like, that was just straight trash from 1 to 20. Like, those 12 songs was straight trash. If somebody ever say that, I'm good. I'm not even doing it no more.
Yeah. And it's funny because Ev touched on something, and we gonna come back to some of the other stuff, but me and him always talk about, like, because in that eras of the 90s, like you said yourself, some of your peers need to stop. And the thing that me and Ev will be like, back in those days, when 93, 94, you had them college tours, and you had these tours, like you said, the Source tour. You're around other people, you in ciphers, you're around other MCs to keep your pen sharp. Where now, like in 2017, there ain't no ciphers, there ain't no real tours like that. So it's just dope to see you still be as sharp as you was 23 years ago now. You know what I'm saying? Because like you said, some of your contemporaries do need to stop. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, for some people stumbled upon this shit. That's just my opinion. You know what I'm saying? And some people is universal giving. I think some people just now catching up to themselves. I mean, Rakim is a perfect example. Like, he'll never sound outdated to me. Now, should he make albums again? He don't need to.
Right.
He got classics under his belt. But when I've heard him in the past few years over music, he don't sound like, oh, like he should stop. Like he sound like he did in 84, 83, 85, 86 when he came out. And he sounds the same way as now. And he laid the blueprint for all of us. To change our, he changed the whole generation, man. Of how we talk, walk, think. And you gotta blame Rakim for that. In a good way though.
Right. Right. Now tell me this, be the wild pitch years, man, because what I miss about hip hop was when the label meant something. There was a time where you could name me an MC, I'm like, okay, he on Wild Pitch. Nah, they on Jive. You knew BDP and Tribe was on Jive. You knew where everybody was. Wild Pitch, y'all had Gangstar. You had Soup and Rudd, Lord Finesse, Chill Rob G, one of my favorites, Main Source.
One of mine too.
Yeah, how did that deal come together? And then I know for the second album, you went to Payday with J. Rue Group Home, Mr. Dave, and them over there running that. How did the Wild Pitch thing come together? Because usually cats are on one label for a couple of joints, so it kind of shocked me when you went from Wild Pitch to Payday and 2 joints. So what happened with that joint?
Well, Search, the guy who owned Wild Pitch, his name was Stu Fine. Mm-hmm. He got a deal with EMI, a distributing deal, to distribute his music. In turn, he stepped to Search for the vice president position. I was signed to Search under Searchlight Productions, me and Nas, but Nas was already signed to Columbia, and that's how it happened. And I probably got the biggest deal over there than anybody, because everybody was getting like $75, $50. No lie, like I think Ness deal was maybe a couple of $100.
Dang.
And I ended up getting over $100,000.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Which is a big thing from Wild Pitch. And I definitely said ill when he stepped to me about going to that label. But then I was like, in the same breath, like, yo, Main Source came out of here. Mm-hmm. Large Professor and K Cut and Sir Scratch, Chill Rob G. Later on, Ultra Mag went through there with a chamber. It was quite a few people who went over there, but it worked out for me. You know what I'm saying? Like back then, when I think about it, it felt like, damn, like I was on a losing team. But in all reality, if I didn't do that deal, I wouldn't be here talking to y'all today.
Okay. All right. And how did switch over to Payday for the Jewelz album?
Well, Mr. Dave ruled. Mr. Dave was part of Gangstar Foundation too. So he also worked up at Payday. He was A&R, and me and him met on occasion through J. Rule. I was touring for 3 years after Word Life came out. You know what I'm saying? Which was 94. I think October 94, something like that. So I was touring for 3 years straight after that. So people was looking at me crazy like, yo, how you still touring for 3 years? And I'm like, I did 100,000. I did like almost 200,000 records with maybe 2 videos.
Right.
And I was competing against like Arrested Development on EMI. Like their second album wasn't doing well as opposed to the first album with Tennessee and all of that.
Right.
And EMI started looking at me like, yo, like who is this kid? Like who is this kid selling 100, almost close to 200,000 records with no push from us? And then he's like killing our double platinum group on sales. Like, what's going on? And I just I was young. I learned, man. I was like, it went from being me wanting to be famous to me not wanting that whole like movement. Like, you young, you want to be famous, you want to be respected. I was like, fuck the fame. The fame will kill you. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I did the transition. I met Mr. Dave. I was touring. I was still working. God bless college radio. You know what I'm saying? And they kept me alive. You know what I'm saying? I toured overseas heavy. You know, just things was just falling into my lap. And when I look back now, like I said, all that meant something now. It meant something back then, but I just didn't see it.
Right.
And you know, Dave got me the situation over there, but I already started recording Jewelz out of my pocket.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And we took it from there.
Now talking about Jewelz, this joint right here, I catch out for this all the time. This is my favorite album of yours. Anytime I'm with cats, they always do the Word Life. I'm like, it's like,
nah, Jewelz better than Word Life to me.
Oh, there you go.
See, we was having that conversation earlier.
There you go. Grand opening, grand closing. Now I was gonna say almost like Tribes, Low End of Midnight. Like you can't go wrong with either one. You can't go wrong with either one. Jewelz to me, man. Talk to me about, just because the first album, you know, Buck Wild did the vocal. You know what I'm saying? This album, you got Primo, and keeping in mind for people, because we got younger viewers, this is 97. Getting a Primo track was nothing to sneeze at, and everybody didn't get a Primo track, especially 4 Primo tracks. Like maybe you could get 1, but you got 4 joints.
Yeah.
You got the Beat Miners, you got Lord Finesse, you got Buck Wild. Yeah, you got an Illmatic type lineup with this joint. I know you already talked about Dave and the Gangstar Foundation. How did the relationship with you and Preem come about to be able to get blessed with these Primo bangers? Because War Games, we'll get into War Games later. Yeah, how that relationship formed?
Well, going back to the me touring after Word Life, you know what I'm saying? Preem was the first guy that ever took me out to Japan in '94, and he DJ'd for me, and that was crazy to me. Like it was just, I can't even explain that feeling to this day. I'm like, you know, you seeing Guru and Preem rock, and now it's you and Preem rocking. You know what I'm saying, for that moment. And I never forget, it was me, him, Bismarck went out there to host, and Lords of the Underground. Them dudes bust my ass on stage. I learned a lot of stage presence and performance from Do It All and Funky and Lord Jazz, because their show was crazy. If it wasn't for Preem, them dudes, I gotta tell Dude that now, like, yo, y'all made me shape up, because yo, they stage show is so high energy, man. Like, you know, they bust my ass.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Wow. So talk about some of the Jewelz sessions, man. I mean, I almost love damn near every song. My World was my War Games, the Can't Go Wrong joint. And what I always loved about you was because you kind of went against the grain, because the Can't Go Wrong joint is really about talking about your woman holding you down and having a relationship. That wasn't being talked about in '97. So the same way we could go back to Word Life and be like, you know, pulling niggas' cards wasn't being talked about. Talking about being in a relationship and a shorty holding you down was not the shit to be talking about in '97.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think about this. I grew up on Eric B, Rakim, LL Cool J, you know, Slick Rick, P.E. But the Cool J's and the Slicks and the G-Raps and the Rakims, they did love songs on their records. So that's where that whole frame of talking about your lady or just, you know, making up a story, being a good storyteller came from. Them guys showed me how to, you know, format a story when it comes to you know, talking about a woman or your female friend or your wife or whatever the case may be. And that was just the format. When I listen to any of those, if you listen to I think Mahogany is on what? Rod's third album?
Yeah, that's the third joint.
Yeah, it's the third.
Slick Rick had Teenage Love on his first album. He had Mona Lisa on there, even though it was up tempo.
Right.
LL Cool J had I Need Love, and he had a lot of songs that his whole fan base was probably mostly females and white people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I was just cut from that cloth by growing up on these guys, you know, G-Rap had She Loves Me Not. You know what I'm saying? And it just showed me how to make music. They was my blueprint to learning how to make music, particularly Slick Rick.
Okay.
He's my number one, like, you know, for just crafting a story, crafting a concept. You know what I'm saying? Over all those cats. Everybody, Rakim is the creme de la creme, but Rick is my blueprint for this is how you structure a song. You know what I'm saying? And to this day, I hold true to that, man. Like, I try to make people visualize what I'm writing and saying. So my world was something Primo ain't even like.
Word?
Damn. To keep that beat. He said it sound like Shook Ones. I'm like, bugging. War Games he loved, of course. When the G.
When the G is that shit, my nigga.
That's Fox. That's Fox out there.
Yeah, it's Bumpy Nuts.
Freddie Fox fan, Bumpy fan. And I, you know, that was Showman at the time. And, you know, when I didn't know him. And I'm like, yo, I'm a big Freddie Fox fan. Like, is it possible to get your man? He was like, what? Not a problem. So he came up with When the G, the idea, and he came up with MUG. You know what I'm saying? That was Fox. That's, you know, like I said, I feed off of everybody. I don't shut down nobody's ideas or I'm the man and this is my album and nah. Like, I feed off of everything that's around me. So, you know, Can't Go Wrong was produced by my man OG. You know, we was trying to get Lauren at the time, but she wanted like $100,000 and it was like, no way. Like, that's not happening. You know, what else we had on there?
You had Dangerous. You had Dangerous. That was my
Dangerous.
The Big L.
Nobody wanted to touch that. You know, that's what I got a beat miners. I brought it to my crew. They was like, she ain't no digging shit. Like, get out of here with that. They laughed me out the room. You know what I'm saying? And then I wrote a check for Will, and I was like, here's some zero. And he was like, all right. I said, well, I'll get a check to somebody else. He was like, no. I'll do it, but I don't like it. And I was like, whatever. And it turned out to be one of my biggest records to date.
Yeah. And the crazy thing, I always loved how it was sequenced too, because I think that's a lost art with albums nowadays, is just how it's sequenced. I almost feel like cats just, whatever they record, they just put it in that order. But I love listening to this album because I love coming from Dangerous with that old school feel, going right into When the G. It just felt like a park jam.
Right.
I mean, it just flowed straight together. With the Big L piece, can you talk a little bit about that session, man, with Big L?
Big L he was all over the place at that time because he was starting to he started Flamboyant Entertainment, so he would be in Queens doing freestyles with Cheeks and them. Then he'd be uptown. You know, he's a Harlem dude, so he would be all over the place. But me and him in particular, L just had rhymes and rhymes and rhymes, books of rhymes, and I told him the idea, and he was like, he came in and he was like, yo, I gotta go somewhere, hurry up, dog. And I'm like, nigga, I gotta write my rhyme, you know what I mean? Like, so we gotta do this together. So I had to make him stay. We knocked out the joint. We knocked out the 16s by itself quick. But then he had to come back the next day and do the back and forth with me. You know what I'm saying? And it was fun, man. Like, you know, we had an album in the works. People didn't know that.
You and Big L?
Speaking on the Big L thing real fast, because I know on Same Sun, the track Real Life, and talking about the storyline and talking about the sessions with Big L. Was that your hardest? That seemed like a real, like, difficult song to write. You can hear it even in the way that the song ends. But that's your hardest, like, story to tell?
Nah, it was a release for me because, you know, that's something we've been holding on to over 15 years. And you know, it's so crazy, and I spoke about this with other people, but I don't mind sharing it. You know, Show and Joe was the ones who actually seen him laid out. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Maybe an hour after he was rocked. And Show tucked it away because he don't realize he called everybody and confirmed him and Joe was standing over his body, and they was like, yeah, that's his boots. He's under the sheet. That's that. Like, that's him. So he tucked that away. So when I did the record, he was like, word, I called everybody. It's like, yeah, you was on your way to Atlantic City, B. Like, you was doing a party with the shorty that night. And, you know, he made a Yui on the George Washington Bridge when he got the call from, you know, like, street dudes he knew downtown in Harlem. And they was like, yo, L is laid out here. So, you know, he made the Yui. He called Joe. And him and Joe met downtown in Harlem. And they confirmed it. You know what I'm saying? But I was actually mad at him, at L, because I thought he just stood me up that night. And you know, that's just how the stars work sometimes, the universe, because that wasn't even his MO. Like, he wasn't answering no calls from me. You know, we had beepers too back then. He wasn't answering no beep, nothing. A two-way, he wasn't answering none of that. And I felt like that was odd, instead of being upset and leaving, you know what I'm saying, I would have sat back and been like, something is wrong. But I guess it manifested in a different way with me. Like, I was being told something, I just ain't paying attention.
Right.
You said y'all had an album that y'all was coming out with?
Yeah, Show gave me and L bags one day out, up in Harlem. Like, after we did Dangerous, you know, me and L toured hard off of that record. You know what I'm saying? And he toured with me in Europe a lot, overseas a lot, Japan, you know, all those places. And when we got home, you know, Joe was like, yo, where's the video? And he's like, you know, fuck a video, whatever. And Show sat back and he was like, yo, I need y'all to meet me downtown tomorrow. We met with him. He gave us both a bag. We opened the bag up and was like, what we gotta do for this? You know what I'm saying? And he was like, yo, y'all gonna do this album. And the first thing we recorded was Get Yours. It was on the Black Mass soundtrack with Jet Li. That was the only record we recorded, and I think Diamond got on it after L got murdered. Word. But it was an album in the works, me and the Showbiz, yup.
Now, since we talking about Showbiz, you're a part of one of the dopest hip hop crews ever, Digging in the Crates. Again, younger viewers may not know. I think the dopest thing to me, man, is that y'all still together. You know what I mean? Seeing you right there, Show coming in from the other room. Not to mention that D.I.T.C. studio album was stupid. That shit.
Oh yeah, that thing was crazy.
For real. Like, I ain't gonna hold you. When I saw it, I was like, I don't know what this is gonna sound like, yo. But yo, I was blown the fuck away. Like,
thank you, man.
Everything, like, everybody sounded refreshed and so focused on that album.
Right.
Is it because, and then again, I don't want to assume, are y'all all friends? Are y'all, because I would have to assume so, because it's been 20 plus years.
Yeah, nah, we brothers, B. We fight like brothers, we argue like brothers, you know what I'm saying? Not physically fight, but you know, we go through it just like family go through it. And right now, I'm waving the flag, you know, as far as one of the members, the founding members in it. And it's me and Show waving the flag, and we got something, I don't know, man, we just caught, I always like to say, Show and A just has a chemistry that's just like undoubtedly just non-touchable, non-fuck-wittable. And I caught something with dude with this album, because we took it back to some traditional shit. I'm like, yo, I'm not picking no music. You pick the music, and I'll just take it home and write to all that shit. And as the universe is my witness, how many songs we was doing a day, Parks?
5, 6 sometimes.
We knocked out maybe like 100 records, man.
Yeah, it's 5 records.
In like a month. You know, and this is show. I'm like, you know, shows like don't bother me when I'm mixing, and I won't bother you while you record. And it works. You know what I'm saying? Like me and dude just we on to something. You know what I'm saying? And it's the reinvention of DITC. We got younger artists, you know, younger producer, younger MCs. That's under our wing. And what we doing is like, yo, the brand is bigger than us. You know what I'm saying? It's not about the physical members anymore. But, you know, the following is so cult, man. Like, we had to realize and understand, like, damn, man, it's like that. And people like, y'all bugging. Like, ain't too many crews that can, you know, stand the test of time. And, you know, Joe got hit records. He double platinum now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's the stars just lined up, man. And I'm just like, yo, I'm going with it. I'm having fun with it. You know, I'm trying to make music that was, you know, that pertains to what's going on now, what's going on in the world, what us as black men are going through, white people, everybody. We all under the same moon, same sun, and that's not even a lie, B. Like, there's no thing about that. That's just the truth. You know what I'm saying? And me and Show just got a chemistry that I never thought we had, like one-on-one, like how him and A has. It's just crazy.
I tell you this, B, one of my favorite joints from you, because you was, and what I loved about it at the time, and for cats who may not know, is that during that 97 period, B, you were everywhere. You know what I mean? Pick up the America's Dying Slowly, which has one of my favorite joints that you did. You know what I mean? What I represent. I love that joint.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? That was crazy. Then you pop up on Pete's Soul Survival with Respect.
Killed that joint.
Well, there's a backstory to that.
Which is one of my, and I want to get to that, but one of my favorite lines on it, the way you said it off, fuck keeping it real, I keep it right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that right there was just like, yo, like this dude said, fuck keeping it real, I keep it right. But tell me the backstory of the Respect Mind joint.
Well, the original joint I rocked to was the joint with Corrupt, him and
Tru Master.
Yeah, that was my joint. And you know, he changed for whatever reason. It was like cool. So I said, you know, I was kind of tight behind that shit. So on his record, I was like, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I got paid for it or whatever, but that wasn't the point. Like, you know, it was just like that's some bullshit. But you know,
you said somebody else is using my computer IP address. Is that anybody?
Probably this.
Is that's what it is?
I don't know. It might be.
Yeah, but yeah, nah, that shit was just like, yo, whatever, man. Like, you know, and
so I mean, did you already record the Tru Master and he just took your verse and moved it, or you had to come back and redo it?
I had to come back and redo it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, Pete, my man, don't get me wrong. I was just like, I seen a video and everything for it. It was like, damn, you took me off the song and you made a video with these niggas. All right.
Oh, so that's how you
So that?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, because that song has a video.
Yeah. Tru Master, Corrupt.
Tru Master, Corrupt. That song has a video.
Right?
Yes.
And Inspector Deck, if I'm not mistaken.
You are correct. You are correct.
Yeah. That was my original joint.
Damn. I never knew that.
Yeah. I had this thing on my shoulder, like, back in the day, man, that niggas ain't have respect for me in a sense. Like, so it was just like, yo, whatever I'm touching, I'm trying to go hard body on.
Right.
So
you walked around with a chip on your shoulder and niggas wasn't respecting your fucking G. That's the wildest shit in the world for somebody to stash it for nobody not to respect it like that.
But that's
for you to feel that way.
Cause I'm laughing, like I'm smiling at dudes now because they like, yo, you back, and I'm like, I never left.
You never left.
Right.
Like that's you don't fall off and fall back on suddenly. That don't happen. Once you fall off, you fall off.
Right. So, that's kind of crazy to hear that because, you know, I'm from Philly and on the street, it was OC was always here. So to hear that, you know, there was a time period where you felt like people wasn't giving you the due respect. It's kind of crazy to me because for us to catch a track or to catch an album with OC on it was like gold. That shit was gold. Just that's what it was to us, especially to MCs, because you don't get that kind of penmanship like that.
Right.
But I have to ask. I know you told us about, like, I'm super excited now hearing about you and Show.
Right.
When can we expect that? When should we look for that?
I mean, he executive produced Same Old Same Son. That's all Showbiz, B. That's all him. I ain't picking none of that music.
I was listening to that today. I still got to finish it up, but yeah, that thing is crazy.
I listened to that joint a couple times. It's a banger.
Nah, that's all Show. I said, yo, we decided we was gonna take it back traditionally and let the producer produce. And you know, for me, it's easier. Like, he just give me a gang of shit that he feel is crazy. You know, from him, from the young producers, from other outside production or whatever. You know, and he just give me a gang of shit, whether it be 10, 20, 30 joints. If I could write to all 30 in a couple of days or maybe a week, and record them shits next week, that's what we do.
That's dope,
you know what I'm saying? And I don't know what the gods from Asgard somewhere then came down and touched me on the brink, because I'm like, yo, I'm doing this at will now. Like, you know, not to sound cocky or nothing, but I'm telling people, yo, it's my time now. People like, yo, but 94 to 90. I'm like, nah, y'all not understanding what I'm telling y'all. Like, it's my time. Like, you know, everybody has their time to actually like stand out. I don't believe I never stood out in that sense. I know people showed me love, showed me some respect, but this is my time now. Like, and I'm a rock out till it fizzes out.
That's crazy.
And I think that's one of the things that a lot of cats don't realize. I mean, the Bon Appetit joint that you had.
Oh, I got crucified for that. And then you had Jay-Z do the blueprint after that. So it was like, I did a soul album. Like, so why y'all not shitting on J record?
And the funny thing is about hip hop, and that's what I would love to touch on with you, is because I don't think a lot of fans understand how much music changes in a time span.
Right. It changes at the drop of a dime, B.
Right. Yep. And then the one thing I always tell cats about Jewelz is that, to me, that was almost the last boom bap album.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, literally, like, that was it. Then came the shiny suits and everything like that. You've been able to survive through all these changes. You know what I'm saying? Because I know a lot of people didn't like Bon Appetit. I love the joint. I like the Soul to Keep, the Dirty, Bonafide with Jay. Right. Like, but it's almost like you said with the timing of it, like, because I always tell cats, you got the Don't Curse video with Heavy D.
Right.
Payne was in there with the silk shirt with the champagne.
Matter of fact, he had on like yellow mustard pants he had on some pink pants with a lavender.
Right, with the lavender jaw.
Yeah.
And you fast forward a couple of years and you see Jay with the button up with the silk shirt. Exactly. Like, sometimes cats, we wasn't ready. You know what I mean?
Nah, I mean, I feel like I ushered in quite a few things. Me and Buck with that album. Kanye came after that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And he was into this whole soul sample. Yo, the College Dropout record was crazy. You know, but it was, you know, I'm like, yo, that's Bon Appetit.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like Blueprint. I listened to Blueprint. I was like, that's Bon Appetit. And the irony of it is, I had Jay on a ghost track on Bon Appetit.
Right, on the last joint.
Exactly. So it's like, and I know Buck used to play music for them. You know, he produced a lot for Jay and Puff and all of them. So, you know, they producers, they play songs or beats or tracks. And I'm like, yo, you know, I used to tell Buck a lot of times, like, yo, don't play my shit, or don't play a lot of shit that, you know, because you might not feel like these dudes is chipping you, but it might happen, B. It can happen.
Right.
You know,
that's crazy.
How did Joint Smoke and Mirrors come together with you and AG?
Smoke and Mirrors was by myself.
I mean, Oasis. My bad. Oasis.
Oasis was with A. Again, that was Show B.I. Show is the show. He's behind a lot of shit, man. Like, you know, if you really go check the back files and you know, a lot of D.I.T.C stuff, it's Showbiz. Point blank, period. You know, he's DITC as far as like, you know, people don't realize DITC is a production group before MCs came to play. So Diamond D and Showbiz started digging in the crates. You know what I'm saying?
Hence the name.
Exactly. Along, them two both are students of Jazzy J, who produced It's Yours, you know, by
T-La Rock.
Yeah, T-La Rock.
You know what I'm saying? Jazzy J did the Sunshine record with Pooh Bah, the Bram Nubians joint. So, you know, these dudes come from that school, and you know, just a lot of shit that goes on, man. Shows he's the catalyst behind the shit.
That's crazy. I got a question, man. How'd the Trophies album come about, man? Because like you said, you got a crew of producers. You know, you got Show, you know, one of the greatest producers ever. But you know, you kind of stepped out the crew for the Trophies joint, and for me, it was unexpected because I knew who Apollo Brown was, but then when I seen the promo for it, I was like, oh, I'm definitely copping this. And it
hold up. So you knew who Apollo was before Trophies?
I knew who Apollo was before Trophies,
but he wasn't as
he wasn't as popular as he is now, because now he's, you know, he got a nice little label deal with Odyssey, so he's sitting pretty on that side of the house. But
yeah.
Before then, he was just a cat that cats knew that used a computer to make beats. Nobody knew who he really was.
Thank you for saying that.
Oh, no doubt. So when I saw it, I was like, oh, I'm copping.
Yeah.
When I got it, it was crazy.
I mean, first of all, shout out to him, man. Shout out to Apollo. But if I'm not mistaken, he had like 3 albums out.
Instrumental joints.
Before that, you know, and with I think he had an album with Boog Brown out too, which was an instrumental.
Yeah, Boogie Brown.
Right. So, you know, that whole I won't say him, but you know, just that whole mellow thing got a little cocky. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, Trophies made y'all. Or added to y'all whole compound to get bigger. You know what I'm saying? And it just shows the power that we all will. Like, it's just like y'all wielding power through these podcasts and through these videos and through just talking to people. We all will power. You know what I'm saying? In some form of fashion. And Trophies, I think, was his biggest record to date. I think he did Guilty Simpson after that.
He did.
And then he did My Man Rascast after that, which was both dope albums.
Right, but like you said, it's still off the piggyback.
Right, but had they came out first, it'd be a different story.
Correct.
But my joint came out first. So who's the motherfucker who put you in place?
Makes sense. So I gotta ask, based on, since we talking about this album, right? Formula. I don't know if cats listen to the album like that, but Formula, man, you based that album that song for the most part off of the D.O.C, man. What's his influence to you, man?
What's his influence to me?
Yeah, because you being OC as a lyricist that we know, you took 3 to 4 minutes and said, I'm gonna base something off of a cat that I respect. Yo, a lot of cats don't do that. Listen to
Ho's records.
Okay.
And I mean, he even shouts D.O.C out.
Yeah, he does.
You know what I'm saying? D.O.C don't get enough credit.
Nah, he don't. D.O.C is
one of the illest, and this is back when it was Straight Outta Compton come out in 83? 88. Right?
88.
Yo, this dude was rhyming like that back then, writing for these dudes.
Yeah.
And that's just, you know, you always have a dude every 5-10 years just come out of nowhere. Now, he was out of Houston, Texas, getting busy. And when I heard his album, I was like, yo, no one could do it better. Was the perfect analogy for the D.O.C, because the dude is a genius. Yeah. Up until Snoop, Dre, all that stuff wouldn't sound the way it sound. Snoop wouldn't be who he was if it wasn't for D.O.C. People don't realize this. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, he's just one of my favorite artists. I forgot to mention him when I said Rakim. Like, he's one of the Fifth Horsemen.
Has he heard the formula? Not the formula, but yeah, it's called the formula. Has he heard the formula?
I wouldn't even know. Like, I haven't even met him. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking forward to meeting him, just bumping into him somewhere, just on some organic shit. But
He's touring right now, man. I hope you get the chance to meet him.
Man, I don't even gotta meet Dukes, man. Like, he just, Pharoahe sees Diamond, he does the bow shit. Dudes be looking at him crazy. But I get it. You know what I'm saying? If I see D.O.C, I might not talk to him because I'll just be that stuck. Like, he's a big influence on me. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's another dude who knew how to structure music and songs. And, like I said, I don't believe NWA would be as big as they were if he wasn't around.
Nah, true indeed. And if it wasn't for that car accident, you know what I mean? Like,
that even made him more like of a Mysterio type dude, because people like Snoop. I'm like, yo, do y'all realize Snoop? My man Finesse was in that camp over there. People don't realize that. With Dre.
See, I always thought that the Chronic was supposed to be Dre and D.O.C. I always felt that. Because I was a D.O.C fan. At the time, I was about 11 years old. And like that Getting Funky, I probably was the only cat playing that joint and not afraid to hear no kickback. I grew up in between Far Rockaway, Queens, and South Jersey, so I ended up getting the best of both worlds. And every time I went, whether it was back to Jersey or back to Queens, I never heard nobody bumping that joint. So I'm like you when it comes to D.O.C, man. I hold him in high regard.
D.O.C and I mean, think about this. It's another thing people will look at me crazy about. I'm like, when it comes to song structure, Dre always had him around. People like, yeah, all right, so what? I'm like, Eminem wouldn't be who he was as far as a song structural writer if it wasn't for D.O.C. He was there saying, no, take that out. Nope, that ain't it. It's all right. And these dudes is looking at him like, he the man. Like, he's D.O.C, but people don't realize his hand in the game. Like, he wields an iron hand. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to a lot of shit that came through Aftermath. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, Dan, I heard, just to go on a sidebar, I heard the message before Ness gave it to Drake. I was trying to get that on Jewelz album. And Ness was like, it was complete already with Rel and Tammy Lucas on it. Tammy Lucas and Rel wrote the choruses on there. It's just that when it got to Dre, Ness got it to Dre. Dre was like, we need Mary on it. She just sang the same thing.
Saying the same thing.
You know what I'm saying? But Tammy got paid, Rel got paid, Ness got paid. Shit went like double platinum. And I wasn't mad at him. I'm like, you held the joint. He had that joint since 96, 95.
Wow.
Man.
He did that for Dre in 2001, right?
Yeah, it was on the Chronic album, the second Chronic album.
Yeah. So when it comes to my crew, when it comes to people that I praise, when it comes to other artists, like, it goes back to what I said earlier. Like, it's all about dealing with the elements that's around you. So I feed off of everything. You know what I'm saying? I feed off of other artists. That's how we supposed to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're supposed to make me a better man. Like, I'm supposed to sit back and listen to your album and be like, fuck. Like, this dude body this shit. Like, I'm going to the lab now.
We had to talk about that.
Yeah.
I got one last question. I'm sorry if I cut you off. So I'm a Crooklyn Dodger #2 head. We talked about this. We did a podcast last week, and that was one of the songs that was my top Primo joints. And I bigged the shit out of you as far as how you stepped into that joint.
Thank you.
So you're welcome. So for me, like, I share the same birthday as Primo. So anything Primo, I buy that shit. I run around the streets with it, whatever. Can you just tell me a little bit about that studio session, man? Because I love the chemistry on that album from three people who you kind of wouldn't think.
Really want to
you threw them names session? Just a little bit. Because if I threw those names out, if I said Chubb Rock, J. Rue the Damager, and OC to an average hip hop head and said they're gonna be on a song, you're not necessarily knowing what you're getting. But it was probably, to me, one of the most beautiful songs I ever heard in my life, man.
You know what's crazy? See, this is why you can't reveal certain hip hop stories because then you crush the machine.
Oh man, don't crush my machine, man.
Yo, man,
don't crush my machine, man. I bought the maxi single, man. Don't crush my machine.
Chubb sent me and Rue home that night with his verse. That verse you hear from Chubb, he did in like one take in like 5 minutes, and he left. And me and Rue was like, and Primo was like, "Yo, I'm gonna go to the weed man when y'all get back." And I was like, "Yo, I'm going home, man. Like, just give me his verse on there, and I'll go after him." And that's the story. Like, he bodied us in one take, straight up. Chubb is another. You know, it's too many people to name to say this is my number ones.
Right.
He's another dude that's, you know, he was ahead of his time, but yo, he did the joint in 5-10 minutes, no lie, and was like, "Yo, y'all good, I'm out," and that was it. That's exactly how he talked. Yo, my man, and he broke out, and we was like, "What the fuck just happened?" And me and Rue looked at each other, and I was like, "Yo, I'm going home, B." And Rue was like, "I'm going to this party. I'll do it in the morning," because we was stuck.
Wow,
that's crazy.
I'm gonna listen to that tonight.
That's crazy. Yo, tell me this, bro. You've been in this game 23 plus years. You've seen the game
23, B.
Huh? What happened?
23 years.
3 years, man. You've seen this game go from the boom bap era to the shiny suit era to the ringtone era to the stop sampling era, start sampling era. You done been through everything. Now we have an era.
Yeah.
What would you say has shocked you the most over this time? You know, and I want to get into the streaming thing because I think that's really killing artists. But before we dive into that, what would you say through all this time, 23 years, what's the craziest thing that you've seen this game throw at you?
I mean, the internet. Besides, you know, if you're in another town like we are now, and we can talk from the other side of the planet. But when it comes to the 360 deal, that shit mind boggles me. That 360 shit is so slaved out. And we in the music business, man, so this is what we dealing with anyway. But that 360 shit was just like, we never had no shit like that. We had the I mean, y'all know what the 360 is, right?
I was gonna actually explain it for people who may not.
That shit is straight chains and shackles. 360 is basically, in a nutshell, before you put an album out, before you even, when you sign the deal, or right before you sign the deal, before you even make a video, before you even make your first line on a rhyme, rap, singing, you sign over everything to the people to get a percentage of shit that you haven't earned yet. Think about that. Shit you haven't earned yet, man. So they getting paid off for shows, merchandise, they getting a piece of your publishing, which is what you write, you know, on a song, your music, everything. Pins. Hold on. NYG'z in the house.
Yo, what up? What up?
Yo, what up? Peace.
It's all about OC. You already know what it is. D.I.T.C.
Yes, sir.
So it's crazy, man. Like, just think about that shit for a second. Like, I signed to y'all. Y'all like, yo, you gonna be a star. And I'm like, word? But we gonna get a piece of everything. And I'm like, yo, I haven't made the record yet. And then y'all like, yeah, but if you sell 1 million records, you're gonna be famous. And it's like that scene that Mos Def did in Cadillac Records. And he said, you're gonna be rich and he's gonna be famous. And he switched seats with homeboy. Adrian Brody. It's the same shit, man. And I'm like, yo, these kids is flashing money. I'm just so bewildered. Like, you ever see kids doing, these young dudes doing interviews and they sitting there with a brick of money, and I'm like, yo, what's the point? Like, I don't understand. Like, I'm not hating. I'm just like, yo, you sitting there with bricks of money on the table, twisting your hair. What's the purpose?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And me and my crew speak about this all day. Like, y'all see it too, or y'all don't know. We don't know them either. It's people walking up the street that's worth billions, and you'll never ever know they got $1. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't flash they shit. They don't, you know, put it out there. And the people in the room that's the loudest is usually the weakest. We all know that saying. And I just can't understand that shit, man. That money shit got us going bananas. The internet got people shooting people in themselves in the face because they gonna get hits, and they might get a streaming deal from stupidass.com. It's just crazy, man. And you know, people look at me wild because I'm like, yo, it's portals open. And people like, man, you want some angel dust or some shit. And I'm like, all right. Because it's too much weirdo shit happening. Like, people shooting themselves in the face on World Star or whatever the case may be because of what? And 9 times out of 10, he's a rapper.
Yeah.
And that shit is just crazy to me. 360 deals, bitches showing their ass. You know, I used to love looking at shit where it wasn't that rampant. You know, I would look for bras and be like, damn, she got some titties. Nah, that shit is normal. They show pussy in your ass like nothing there. Like, I don't want to see that shit now. It's too accessible.
Yeah.
I used to sneak and watch porn and shit. Now I'm like, I ain't gotta watch fucking Pornhub no more. I'm looking at World Star.
Right. Yeah. It's funny how you talk about this thing being accessible, because, you know, there was a time probably in the early 90s where I'm like, man, I would love for hip hop to be on the radio.
Exactly.
Oh, and then, you know, now we got it, and it's like, nah, like that though. Like, now I wanted to stretch.
Well, like I said, think about it. Like, we would see a bad video vixen chick or something, and she wasn't. You had to really buy a magazine or see her in a video. That was the furthest it would. Now, you know, shorty from our hoods they can just show some ass and titties, and they popular.
They on their way.
And it's just like, I ain't getting hard off for that shit no more. Like, looking at, like, yo, it's too many. It's normal. And here's the thing. I ain't gonna keep rambling, but we so desensitized that walking over a dead body or seeing kids ripping their shirts off and shitting on themselves, fighting on video and shit like that, and people like, that shit got mad hits doing. I'm like, yo, that shit don't bother you, dogs.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's where we at, man. And you know, it's, you know, the few that's out here, that's in the know, we know and we understand. But 95% of these people don't. They don't want to see it. They just like, yo, as long as my family eating, I'm good. Like, me, I. And it's like, fuck, man. The Jews got, you know, they got their movement. Chinese got their movement. Puerto Ricans got their movement. You know, the Albanians got their movement. Who's the only people left out on the totem pole? Us. We'll kill each other for fucking a buck, literally.
Yeah.
And you know, it's just same moon, same sun. We all under that shit, but we're not playing by the same rules.
Right. But you said it right there. Same moon, same sun, man. Let everybody know where they can cop this joint at, man. Let them know everything about the joint, man.
That shit is sold out right now, which is I'm proud. Like, I'm happy. Me and Show is like, yo, this shit's going bananas right now. You get it on DITC, ENT.myshopify.com, Slice of Spice, .com. Yo, we really kept it to ourselves though. We gave it out for free on our website, you know what I'm saying? And it took on the life of its own. So get that record, man. Like it's an important album. You know, I'm finishing up part 2 right now. Road to Perdition, Same Moon, Same Sun. And you know, the last installment is coming at the end of 2017, going into 2018, and that'll be it with the trilogies, with the same moons and shit. We can't have too many moons out here no more.
Now, yo, there's no way I could leave this joint without you being one of the dopest lyricists to me ever. I can't leave this without asking, who are you feeling nowadays?
What am I doing?
Who lyrically? Who are you feeling? Who are you feeling lyrically nowadays? Out here, out of the post 2000 MCs. We just did a podcast about what MCs are we feeling post 2000. And we put a little asterisk on it, not including Drake, Kendrick, and Cole, because I know so many people name them. So MCs lyrically, are you like, from a lyrical standpoint, this dude is nice?
It's this one kid. Besides, I'm not even going. It's biased doing my crew. You know, as far as like, we got this young cat named David Bars. So I'm gonna go outside of that. It's this kid named, let me say his name right, Nick Grant.
Yeah. I was just talking about him.
Nick
just
Grant.
yeah.
Yeah, that cat is nice.
He's special.
Yeah.
He's a problem. He's me. Well, let me take that back.
Nah, you right.
Yeah.
No, you right.
Absolutely right.
Right.
But he's a student of the game like we students. So that's why I say he's me, Nas, he's Jay, he's Big. And I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't paying no attention to nobody. Sway put me up on Nick. And I'm like, yo, this kid is bad as a motherfucker. Like, and my second, not in no particular order, is Marcy.
Yeah, Rock crazy.
Rock is just, Rock got that pocket where it reminds me when Prodigy was just in his bag. You know, it's not on a bigger scale as Mobb Deep, but Marcy got a lot of people biting his style right now. Biting his blueprint and all that. So I would say Nick Grant is my number one. Like, that kid is something special, man. Straight up.
No doubt, bro. I don't want to hold you. I know you in the studio, man. I don't want to hold you. I want to thank you for your time, man. And sitting down.
We about to go see Cream spin down at the Brooklyn Bowl.
Oh, that's what's up.
I just got to say this real fast. And I know, like, for me as an MC, being on this panel with you, you were like how D.O.C is to you. That's how you were to me.
Thank you, man.
I just want to thank you for influencing my mind state, influencing my pen to go deeper, to go stronger, and to still be in it. And I just want to say, man, I have a whole lot to say because for me, this is a special privilege right now. I just want to salute you, brother, and say I really appreciate everything that you've done in the game.
Nah, it goes both ways, man. Like, just for people to acknowledge, you know, what little I've done in the game, and it's supposed to be each one teach one, vice versa. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, people gave me a chance, showed me the way, and that's how it's supposed to be. We're supposed to pass it on, pass the torch, and we're really supposed to be helping each other. But you know, that's another story. But
that's for sure.
Nah, that's my pleasure, and y'all teaching, showing me things too. You know what I'm saying? I don't do this. Well, I've just been doing this shit for the past year, but I don't do interviews really, you know, and I'm reaching out on my own. If somebody get at me and I feel like they're not on some gazy shit, I reach back to them. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I've just been on the social media for the past almost 3 years now, which is late. I'm a Johnny come lately. So, you know, I appreciate all the respect. You know, I don't know what else to say. I don't call people fans either. That's another thing I never do. always say support system. Like, I think fans turning back on you. Yeah. Support system will give you a chance to be like, yo, he got knocked out, but I think he could go back and train and, you know,
still be here.
And still be here. And even if he get knocked out again, we'll still hold him down. Like, so I don't say fan. Like, that shit is some bullshit to me.
Okay.
And I can't thank you enough, for real, because just reaching out to you on Twitter like that, when you hit me back, it was like, damn, yo, I called Ev immediately, like, yo, motherfucker, I don't care what you got going on next week.
I'm there.
Nah, I was excited too, B. Like I said, people like, yo, this is really you. And I'm like, this is social media, man. Yeah, it's me. Like, it's cool though. I'm with all this shit now. Like, let's do it. You know,
no doubt, man. Well, definitely, man. I want to have you back just to chop it up with us, because we go every week. I know you busy, but I'll just hit you with a topic. If you want to jump in, we'd love for you to come back in and jump in and just chop it up with us about regular old hip hop stuff.
I'm with it, man. I'm trying to look at, is that Parliament behind you?
Yeah, B, I got everything behind me, man. It's a whole wall of everything over there.
I was a kid. I used to slide on them records when I was young. And I'm trying to see what else. I can't see the one on the top, but I'm looking at your whole.
Yeah, baby. This lab over here. So.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me see if the guard got his shit back here.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. This is all boxes of records. This is small.
Yeah.
Storage shit, so a lot of records. So that's why I'm like, yo, we all share shit in common, D. Like, you digging, I see the shit behind you, I'm looking, I'm like, I'm trying to peek. Add shit in the back, I'm like,
yeah, I guess this.
I can't see what he got because he hiding his shit.
Yeah. Shit, we both hiding our shit.
Yeah, baby. But like I said, man, I just appreciate it. Stu, brother, please go through the beats I sent you, man, because it will be a blessing. There's something on with you, man, for real.
No doubt. I'm gonna definitely go through them. I go through all that, man. Like, it's not a game. I'm on one. So,
no doubt, man.
It'll get knocked out. You know, we'll definitely handle that business and we'll make it happen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yo, give them all your information, Twitter, everything, again, where they can get the album, everything.
Oh, this shit is so cliche. OC at D.I.T.C. That's my Instagram. The real O Sizzle is my Twitter. Facebook, yada yada yada. Find me how y'all gonna find me, whatever.
Looking for me,
Twitter,
come up.
Instagram, whatever, man.
All right, well, y'all already know what it is, right? Give them all your stuff real quick, bro.
All right, so Twitter is at DJ Rec1. Instagram is worldwide Rec1. SoundCloud JRec1. Check the Foundation podcast, man. I'm about to put up another episode, so that's it, man.
All right, Ev, I know you ain't on Twitter, but go ahead for that.
You know, I got it, but I don't be on it, man. I'm like OC.
He don't do it.
Y'all already know this with me, Kill889 on Twitter. We'll make beats for food.com. Check us out, man. I'll check y'all next week. Again, OC, thank you, brother.
Salute y'all, man.
Peace, man.
Peace.